Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're going to hang out maybe 2 more minutes to see if we have more people in here. So, yeah, if you want to have pre-bio break, now is a good time. Pre-event bio break, I guess. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm going to stop this right now. All right. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. Okay. Hi, my name's Rio from Japan America Society of Minnesota. Today I'm in our office today. It's like first time in a long time that I've been here. So it's kind of nice. And we're very, very excited to have Twin City Aikido group today. We're very, very excited. And also we're very, very excited the fundraising that goes with this. First of all, if you don't mind, if you can turn your camera on so that we can all feel like we are in the same place all together. So, oh, hi, Jessica-san. Good to see you all. So that we won't be able to, cannot meet with each other in the same room, but just by having faces, we will feel like we're virtually together. Yes, good to see you, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. We are very happy to have Twin City Aikido group today. Just want to let you know that this is not public yet, but we are planning to have Okinawa Karate lesson also in October. And then this is like top secret, y'all. You're the only first people that know about this. We are planning to have sake tasting and Japanese ceramic lecture combined. So you can learn about sake and you know what you're drinking in it, which is super awesome. Hopefully you retain the information by the end of the event, but that won't be my fault. So if you can't, so if you want to check us out, that would be great. We have exciting future events for you, and in order for us to keep serving you and create a place for us to be connected, we really, really need your support. Please, please donate if you can. And also become a member if you can so that we can be connected all the time. People are texting me and all that. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at that. Just make sure that nobody's like, cannot get in the link or something. I think we're all good right now. And today, as we discussed on the Facebook and then on our email, all the donation that we collected for this event, the Twin City Aikido people are paying us back in very different ways. And I'm very excited to see those men sweat. Wait, that came out really wrong, but you know what I mean. So now, please, without further ado, everybody of Twin Cities Aikido group, please take it over. Yay, and you might want to unmute yourself. Maybe.
Good evening. My name is Nick Cipra, and behind me we have
Alan Smith, Robert Gutierrez,
and we are members of the Twin Cities Aikido Center. We're very happy that you joined us tonight to learn about this wonderful martial art and to take part in some basics practice. We're really happy to have this opportunity for JASM to introduce ourselves to the larger Minnesota community, to get to know to introduce ourselves to you so you can learn about this art, and to do a fundraiser for JASM here. So this is an interactive fundraiser tonight. The money that you donated, we will be acting on that. So we're going to engage in saburi for it. If you did not have the chance to donate, you can still do that during the webinar tonight. So if you go back to the URL, or I believe Rio-san will provide a link in the chat, you can continue to donate. We'll be checking in twice tonight to see how much money was raised. And for every dollar that you donated, we will be doing saburi. We will do one sword cut per dollar. Hopefully, you all donated a lot. We can raise a bunch of money for JASM, and you're gonna have to make us sweat here. So I'm very excited to introduce a bit of the art. I'm going to go through briefly the history of the art, where it's practiced around the world, how it's different than other martial arts, the meaning for the practice for us. And Al Sensei will take us through a basic Aikido warm-up, and Robert Sensei will end with with a weapons tutorial. So we're very excited about that as well. I am not an expert on the history of Aikido. I'm not a scholar on this. There's been many fantastic books that have been written, but I will do my best to try to summarize the main points for all of you tonight. So we're going to do this a little bit interactively, like a flipped classroom. You're all on a device tonight, so I'd like for you to go to a website. The URL is mintometer.com. And that should be up in the top there. So go to that mintometer.com website. This has the slides on it, and it's interactive. We have a couple interactive parts, and enter in that access code there. So I'll give everybody a moment to do that. We're experimenting with a lot of things at school right now. I'm a high school math teacher and everything. We're on complete distance learning right now, so it's Wild West. We're experimenting with technology. Things are going wrong, but you gotta be flexible and try things out. Okay, so hopefully people are onto the website. Just open up a browser, enter in that code. We're the Twin Cities Aikido Center, located in St. Paul, Minnesota. We do have an affiliate dojo down in the Rochester area. So if you find this interesting tonight and would like to test it out and try it some, but you don't live up here, you live down there is a dojo down in Rochester too that you can take part in, and we all hold seminars together up here. So this next one is an interactive slide. So if you could just type in a few things, this is going to be a big word wall. what martial arts have you all heard of? So give people a moment here. Things should pop up as it comes in. Oh, there we go. Taekwondo, Aikido, of course Aikido. Oh, that one came in really, really big. Karate, I think a couple people entered that. Judo. So Taekwondo is Korean martial art. Judo and karate both. We got it's
Kendo.
moving all around. What is
Aikido.
going on? Okay, that's exciting.
Jiu-jitsu.
Judo. Kyudo.
Yaido.
Yaido. Kyudo, isn't that Japanese archery? That's an exciting one as well. Fantastic. You've done some archery, haven't you, Robert?
Yeah, but not Kyudo.
Not Kyudo?
How about Naginata?
Naginata.
Oh, Naginata, that's the spear. That's wonderful.
How about Shurinji Kempo?
Shurinji Kempo, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The people who I visit in Osaka also train Shurinji Kempo.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay. So it looks like we're getting a whole bunch of Japanese martial arts in this list. That's not surprising. This is a JASM webinar. Karate is the biggest one. It's the most famous. Karate Kid's a fantastic movie. If you haven't watched the Netflix, well, it's on Netflix now, but Cobra Kai is on Netflix. I can't recommend it enough. It's fantastic. Okay, so we're here talking about Aikido tonight. Does anybody know who the founder of Aikido is? So 3 options here. So you should be able to key this in on Mentimeter. Test it out. Ooh, they're all moving. It is a 3-way tie. Up. Moving down over there. So on the far left there, Jigoro Kano. In the middle, Morihei Ueshiba. On the right, Miyamoto Musashi. Jigoro Kano, he is famous as founder or chief practitioner and organizer of judo. So also very famous martial art. Judo is an Olympic sport. In the middle, Morihei Ueshiba, he is who we're going to be talking about tonight. He is the founder of Aikido and Aikidoka, Aikido practitioners. That one's moving up more now. change answer. That's what the kids do too. He's the founder of Aikido, and Aikidoka refer to him as O-sensei, the great teacher. So for tonight, I'll try to refer to O-sensei as Morihei Ueshiba, his name, but I might slip back and refer to him as O-sensei because that's what we do in the dojo. And on the far right, another very famous figure in Japanese martial arts, Miyamoto Musashi, is the most famous swordsman in Japan from the late 1500s, early 1600s. Okay, so Morihei Ueshiba, when did he live? He was born in 1880, I can't read that, 1883?
The 1969.
The 1969. So during a time of incredible transformation in Japan, he trained a variety of different martial arts as a young man under different weapon systems as well. He participated in the Russo-Japanese War, and in his mid-20s, he became a student of Sakaku Takeda, who was the premier practitioner of the martial art Daitobu Aikijitsu in Japan. He was a very famous and formidable martial artist. And Ueshiba learned powerful technique from Sakaku Takeda, but he couldn't reconcile his physical accomplishments with what he believed in his heart, his spiritual transformation, that he had really 2 mentors. One was his martial arts instructor, Takeda-san, but the other was a figure in a religious sect in Japan. And these 2 were at odds for the longest time, because he could see the technique that his instructor could do and how powerful it was, but he also saw the sort of person that began to turn him into, and he didn't want that for himself. he underwent three different experiences where his heart began to radically change. One of them, there was, I believe it was an officer, perhaps an admiral in the Japanese Navy, who did not believe what Ueshiba could do, was upset at him, and wanted to strike him down with a sword. And he tried, and Ueshiba was unarmed, and he kept moving out of the way. He could see the light, he could see the intent. He evaded. The story goes after half an hour, the admiral collapsed in exhaustion. He could not strike. And he was so impressed. He was like, I can't hit you. And he gave up. And Ueshiba felt that this is, you can defeat another person and control them without bringing physical harm to them. So his technique, Daitoru Aikijitsu, began to change at this time. It became softer, he began to blend more, and it involved a lot of spirals. People began to take notice that this was suddenly different than what his instructor was doing. So word spread, and a name came. It was like, what are you doing? It's like, well, this is Daitoru Aikijitsu, but it's different. It's different than what we've seen before. So they called it Aikido. And the kanji for Aikido has three figures here. So top one, I, and ki, do. And there's different ways to, I think, read and interpret kanji. You can get different things out of them. So I is a group or a meeting. It also, it's a different kanji, but it's pronounced the same way as the Japanese word for love. The middle one, ki, is energy. And the last one, do, a way or a path. So Aikido could be referred to as the way of the harmonious spirit. And the founder liked that. So, yeah, we'll call this art Aikido. I think somebody else called it Aikido, and okay, that fits. I like that. And a lot of people began to come towards him in Japan and want to train under him. They didn't necessarily think that what he was doing could work. What is this? And they would challenge him. And he he inspired a generation of martial artists in Japan. So today, Aikido is practiced all over the world. This is a picture of the head of our organization in the US, the United States Aikido Federation. This is Yoshimitsu Yamada Sensei in New York. He was an Uchideshi, live-in student with the founder before coming to the US. That a lot of those young men trained with him in the 17 through the 20s, and then they spread across the world to train Aikido. Aikido is practiced all around the world these days. The head of our organization, or dojo here in Minnesota, was Akira Tohei Sensei, and he trained our instructor. Now, Aikido is interesting because it's not a competitive martial art. There are no tournaments in Aikido. There will never be Olympic Aikido. It's not about competing. You train with another person. So this, we do have seminars. This is a seminar that we hosted here at the Twin Cities Center a couple of years ago, maybe last year, with Yamada Sensei's student, Donovan Wade Sensei. And people come in from out of town to train with him. He travels around the world teaching Aikido. Now, one of the things that you find interesting about Aikido is it's always done with another person.
Hi.
Hi.
What is it?
So it's always done with another person. And this has made training during a pandemic incredibly difficult because while we do have a schedule right now, we're all wearing masks and we try to stay 6 feet apart. And so much of the Aikido is done with contact. So this is a picture of our Cal Sensei throwing Robert, and we can't train like that right now. Other things that we do at the dojo, it's a big sense of community. We have a kids class. We have begun an exchange every 2 years with a school in Japan. So in Osaka, one of the people we met is a Japanese language teacher. He has an after-school Aikido club, and it's huge. It's got so many kids doing it. They do training up in the mountains with over 100 kids from different schools in Osaka. And he decided, I want to come to the Twin Cities. His son studied abroad here for a year, and bring my kids over and do this exchange and show them Minnesota, take them around the Twin Cities, go up north, see Gooseberry Falls, do American-style barbecue. And we found host families, for them generally students who are studying Japanese language at high school. They don't know anything about Aikido, but our dojo gets some exposure this way, and we help foster that international relationship. Okay, so we're gonna transition over, but I'd just like to check in with Ryo-san right now. Ryo-san, where are we at in regards to donations?
We are currently 154, 5, Yoko-san.
Oh, sugoi.
Thank you so much, you guys.
150, okay, so Robert, are you ready to do 155 cuts with me?
Right.
Okay, we will get ready. For the rest of you, we're gonna move over to Al Sensei, and he will take you through a typical Aikido warm-up. Please do not be too distracted by me and Robert in the background.
Well, I think that I got the nod to show the warm-ups just to prove that it's not necessary for you to be a teenager to enjoy this. So I encourage you to join. I think we all get way too much practice sitting in front of tubes and screens in this age. So follow along with me if you care to, just to get the kinks out. If someone who's on their 70th lap around the sun like I am can do this, I'm sure you can as well. Now, just to warm up the upper body, now to stretch out the legs, particularly stretching the muscles of the calf right now. With my knees straight, my back knee straight, I'm stretching the big heads of the gastrocnemius. It gives the calf the shape. I pivot, stretch the other side, again with my knees straight, stretching the gastrocnemius. Then if I pivot back, and this time I keep my back leg, keep the knee bent there, I'm stretching the bigger muscle under the gastrocnemius of the soleus. Again, switching, I always switch, try to do both sides equally. This is basically to get our muscles warmed up. We're always trying to prepare our body for practice. This time, I'm stretching the coremost of the core muscles, called the iliopsoas group. If you are stretched out like this, you feel a very good stretch on the inside of the groin, the top of the thigh on the inside, and pivoting around to the other side. Again, this is, I won't just warm up, but this is not where we gain flexibility is where we warm up our muscles to be able to practice. The best place and time to gain additional flexibility is to stretch after you've warmed up the muscles and practiced. Then we can go out to a broad stretch. You'll notice Robert Sensei showing how I would do this if I were able to. But stretching again, now stretching the hamstrings of the front leg. Pivoting around, stretching the hamstrings on the other side. Now bringing my stance to a fairly wide stance, at least probably half again the width of my shoulders. Squatting as deeply as I can there. Nice place to hang out, nice place to feel your hips getting a little looser. Then stretching the lower back. And bringing my feet in together. Pushing my knees around. To loosen them up, then reversing direction. Reversing direction again. And one more time. Then moving that action up to my hip. Pushing my hips around in a circle. And then stopping and going back the other way. And reversing again. And stopping the hips. Letting my head go around all the corners of the compass. And letting my head go forward and back, flexing and extending my neck. And raising up my shoulders and rolling them forward. And raising them up and sending them back. And then I raise them up to my ears, high up as I can. And when you're doing that, do you feel how tired the muscles that raise your shoulders can get? They get really, really tired because this takes a lot of energy. It's not efficient. So when you drop them and you leave them down, you're much more efficient. Then we like to stretch out our wrists for a couple reasons. One is that when we, as we like to say, are leading the mind with a nervous sensation, we are moving someone's wrist around, and they tend to follow where the wrist goes. So I'm going to show you up close the first of these stretches that we like to call Aikido. You'll notice that I'm just hanging my hand in front of me, fingers down, grabbing that hand to keep it in place, keeping both of my elbows down, and raising my hand right up in my center. Not raising the whole thing, just keeping the elbows down, raising the hand up, and feeling a really good stretch in my wrist. Then I switch to the other wrist. I grab it, and I keep my elbows down, and I raise my hand up in my center and down, raise it up in the center and down, and raise it up in the center. You'll feel the impurities being removed from the. Now, a second stretch that we like to call Kotegaeshi. I'm going to look at the palm of my hand, and I'm going to place the thumb of the other hand between the last two knuckles. I reach around with my last three fingers on the grabbing hand and grab the thick part of my thumb, the thenar eminence. And I draw down again as I twist my wrist to the outside. I feel a really good stretch across my across my entire wrist. Then I switch to the other side. I look at the palm, put the thumb between the last two knuckles, reach around with the last three fingers, and I draw down again, twisting the wrist fully to the outside. I hope you're feeling that very intensely on your wrist. Then I stop. Now I'm going to show you one we call Nikyo, where I place my hand in front of me, thumb down, little finger up, and I grab with the thumb up. I drop my elbows once again, and I'm going to rotate my little finger towards my nose. I'm going to keep that pressure on, and if you're doing this, you're probably beginning to feel a fairly intense stretch in the, especially in the back of your arm. Now switching again, the other side, thumb up, elbows down, and rotating the little finger in towards my nose. That is the Nikyo stretch. Can be very compelling. Now I'm going to put my palm down, palm out, thumb down again, and shake hands with myself. Coming down, and the heel of the top hand is going to push on the edge, the hand blade of the other hand as I twist up and into my armpit on the same side as that. Try to keep my wrist straight. It's not breaking. I'm keeping the wrist straight and twisting up and into my armpit. Then I'm switching sides and again doing the same. You feel a good stretch going all the way up the arm, all the way to the elbow normally. When we do this, we're learning, not only are we conditioning our own wrists and arms to receive these techniques, but we're learning what it feels like to stretch the fascia, what it kinesthetically feels like on our partners when we practice. So, one other exercise I'd like to walk you through, and that is an exercise that we call Nuchi Ikyo Uno. It is a swing up exercise, and what I am going to do is I'm going to try and make sure that while I'm shifting my weight, my back heel is not coming up off the ground. And when my weight goes back, my toes aren't coming up off the ground in the front. So settling my weight, again keeping my shoulders relaxed, I'm going to swing the whole arm up. And as I swing, go forward and down as I go back. Each, knee, thumb, cheek, each, knee, thumb, cheek, each, knee, thumb, cheek. I'm going to pivot around, do it to the other side because we want to stay down. So each, knee, thumb, cheek, each, knee, thumb, cheek, each, knee, thumb, cheek. If that looked like it might have come from motions of swinging up a sword, it's not coincidental. Kind of a fundamental issue. Now, one last thing we usually do when we're starting to warm up before class is we practice the rolls that will keep us safe when we're receiving throws and such. One of the cardinal principles is that I don't want to smash the front of my head or the back of my head into the ground. I don't want to hit my tailbone. I want to learn to make friends with the ground in such a way that I travel on a diagonal, one shoulder to the opposite hip. That doesn't cross my head. It goes across the diagonal on my back. So whether I'm doing a front roll, back roll, side roll, I'm avoiding trying to hit my head or my tail. A basic front roll would look like this. A basic back roll would look like this. Whereas a sort of a hybrid With that, let's turn it over to Robert. We'll discuss somewhat.
So, hi, hello, welcome everybody. So, as Allison was talking about on sword stuff and swinging up, most people, are familiar with a metal sword. So, one downside to using a metal sword with your partner is you can really only make one mistake once, then not so happy. So, what we do instead is we put this away. And we use something called a bokken. It's a wooden sword. It has the same, shape and feel and dimensions as a regular sword, but we can use this safely with our partners to train with together or by ourselves without hurting anybody too much. Now, if you don't have one of these cool handy-dandy bokkens at your disposal, it's okay. As long as you have something that's, about up to your waist, up to your hip, whether that be a broom handle or what have you, you can use that. Or if you really need to, you can unleash your inner Jedi and go to your local store and grab a lightsaber. I'll give everyone a minute just to make sure they can unleash their inner Jedi with us. Okay? So, if you'd like to join us, a couple of pieces of etiquette. How do we hold the sword? So, bokken or sword is primarily a right-handed weapon. My right hand, this is my right hand, goes on top. If you can see how there's this little notch right here, that's where we have a suba or a guard. My left hand then goes near the bottom. And it stays like this when I raise up and then bring it down to cut. Well, what if you don't have a broom handle, you don't have your awesome lightsaber? You can also get a lot of the same feel by keeping your hands in that same position, like Mr. Smith was doing earlier, raising up and down. So you're right here, hands are right here, right hand on top, left hand near the bottom, and then from here, we raise up here, called Jodan position or upper position. It's above the head so I can see. And then when we cut, we bring it down to what would be called Chudan position or mid-level, kind of even with your belt or with your obi. So we go from here, out, and then down to about mid-level to cut. When we do that, like Mr. Smith was talking about, we keep those shoulders down and we don't flex our wrist too much. We instead come up, out, and then cut. Okay, so let's go over that first basic cut. Shomen, okay, or some people who do kendo might call shinkai. So, as you hear, you raise up Jodan position, and then you extend out, bring down to Chudan position. Doing that, keeping your shoulders down, nice and relaxed. Up, out, and cut. Up, out, and cut. And now, let's change it. This is going to feel funny for people. You're going to have your left foot in front, but your right hand is on top. And you can do the same thing. You're going to raise up, out, and cut. Up, out, and cut. Up, out, and cut. Okay. Now, we're going to actually do a little dancing. Okay? So, we're going to kind of hop back and forth. So, down, up, cut, hop, up, down, 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 cut. Now, would we normally be hopping? Not really. We'd be stepping, but let's get that heart going a little bit. So normally, as we step, we're here, we raise, step, and cut. Raise, step, and cut. I need to turn around. So I raise, pivot, and bring it on down. So I can look behind me. Raise, step, cut, raise, step, cut. I want to look behind me again. So I raise, pivot, and back. That for us is our basic pivot or kaiten. So when I do that, I have my right foot facing this way. I kaiten, I raise, I pivot, I look behind me. Now my left foot's in front. And I can engage my partner from there, going, hey, partner, oh wait, there's somebody behind me. I kaiten again. Next one is tenkan, turning. So I raise, pivot. Now my left foot comes straight back, my sword comes down. Now I have my right foot in front. Again, it's staying in front. So again, I raise, I pivot, I draw my left foot back and come straight down, tenkan. Let's do that 2 more times. I raise up, left foot's in front. I pivot, now my left foot's in front. I draw back, my right foot's still in front. So 1 more time, I'm here. I raise, right foot is in front. I pivot, now my left foot's in front. I draw my left foot back, and I've now just done my tenkan, okay? So, sometimes I want to step and turn. How am I going to step and turn? Well, I step, raising my sword up, I pivot, then I draw my foot back, my right foot back. Now I got my left foot in front, facing the opposite way. But I want to face back behind me again, but something's chasing me from behind. Whether it be dragons, tigers, lions, bears, what have you, something's chasing me. So I'm going to take a step to get away from it. I'm going to take a pivot to look at it, and then I bring my sword down to go, stay over there. All right? So, with that being said, so that's some of the basic things that we do with our sword, is we move with it, and if you notice, and I saw Rio-san doing it really nicely, she kept everything in front of her. So everything was in front. When you're doing all your stuff, it stays right in front of you. That way, it's not off to any weird angles, because I want to keep everything straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. All I'm doing is these nice, simple cuts. Now, with that being said, Nick-san had earlier said, we do a lot of Aikido by practicing together. Well, it's during COVID. How are we going to practice together? We can do it via Zoom, but I can't touch anybody there, and you can't touch me. But these can touch. So I'm going to ask Alison Taylor to join me for a few minutes. Now, he also has a sword. Now, you can do it's actually part of the curriculum is to do paired practice with swords together, whether that be sword, that be bokken, or the walking stick, the jo. Now, in this instance, we both have bokken. At this point, if he tries to move in, I have my sword up, he has his sword up, he doesn't really want to move in right now. That's just not in his best interest. So instead, what I do is I go, oh, look, and I come off to the side. And, oh, how are you doing, Mr. Smith? And then from here, I would bring the sword in, and he goes away, and he now works on those nice little back falls we did earlier. So, once again, over here, Mr. Smith, please. Keep your distance. So we're here, he waits for me to drop, I go, oh, no. I get off to the side, and then I bring the sword towards his throat to encourage him to back up. Now, if anyone's seen an Aikido demonstration or has seen Aikido on YouTube, what have you, there's a very quintessential technique called Igimenage, entering throat. Usually the way that looks is something's coming this way, we come around, we bring our partner's head to our shoulder, we raise up, and we step forward to throat. That looks very familiar to I raise up here and cut. Okay? So, why don't we try this together? Let's use our hegatana, hand blades, to do this. Okay? So, we have our hand blades up. So, our hand blades are in front of us. All right. So, We're looking, something's coming at us. Ah! We raise our hands up like we have our sword. We take a step next to our partner, and then we would take what is now our lead hand, and we put it to our shoulder. And we look, our kaiten, we raise that hand way up high. We look back, think of pointing with your fingers, and then we step forward to then throw our partner down. Yep, just like that. Very, very nice. So once again, so we're here, we have our tegatana, our hand blades are out. I like to tell the kids our mighty penguin flippers, okay? Because penguins don't have little fingers for bad things, they have flippers. So nice, strong hands. So something comes in to hit us, we step next to it, hands are raised, we bring our hand to our shoulder, we raise our mighty flipper up, and then we step forward down to throw. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And one last one for the road. So we're here, just so you get a different perspective. It comes in, like actually I'm gonna do this way, so you can see. Ah! So if Mr. Smith is over here, just out of reach, ah! I want to come to this side of him, raise up, and then step through the throw. Okay, lovely. So that's one technique that's very, a lot of people see in Aikido videos is iri menage, entering throw. Another one is called shihonage, for direction throw. So for that one, I'll again ask Mr. Smith to be my lovely assistant. So now he's going to do something called keisagiri, coming in and cutting diagonal. So please do not come here, Mr. Smith. If I do not move, he would be cutting through the side of me. This isn't good. I'm not going to have a good day. So I lower, I go pillow again. Now from here, I bring my sword down, I draw it across. As I draw across, I raise this up, keeping it in front of me. I turn around and bring it down and throw. Noticing at the end, keeping the sword on my partner to make sure he doesn't come back and try to attack me. That's very mean of you, Mr. Smith. Such a mean person. So as you hear, I lower the blade, I go, oh, please don't hit me. Bring it across, stepping, raising, pivoting, and down. So if we want to try to do that together, yeah, let's work on it together. So as we're here together, so we have our right hand, right foot in front, or sorry, right hand on top, right foot in front. Okay, so from here, something's coming to the side of my head. I want to move my left foot back, keeping my sword in front of me. Okay, now from here, I bring my sword down like I cut. Now, I'm going to bring my sword across, like it's across their belly. Okay, now it's to your right side. Now, you step with that left foot, raising up, like we did earlier. Now you have your left foot in front, good. Now, next, you pivot or kaiten, and then you cut down. And you should be, again, doing that same showman cut with your right foot forward. So, once again, I'm actually going to do it, so I'm facing the same way the camera is. So hopefully you can see my feet, even though they become my hakama. So here, something comes in, I move my foot off. Here, I bring it down. Now I bring it across. Next, my left foot steps forward as I raise into Jodan position. I kaiten or pivot. So now I have my right foot in front, and then I just let my sword come down with my right foot in front to cut down. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's try that together. So with our mighty penguin flippers, but this time my penguin flippers have to grab something. Okay, so from here, I keep my hands up. Something comes at me from this side. I look to that side, keep my flippers up, bring them down. Bring them across. Now here, my flippers have to grab onto my partner. Now I step with that left foot, and I bring my hands up. Now I kaipen or pivot, and then I bring my hand down to throw. Now, one thing that's different between Aikido or using Boken versus using the Tegatana is we have to work on both sides. Generally speaking, we don't do a lot of Boken stuff with our left hand on top, mostly right hand on top. So if we try it with the other side, with our left side forward, again, we keep our mighty penguin flippers at the ready. Something comes at us, we move our foot back, we bring our hands down, we bring it across the belly. We now step with our right foot, we pivot, and then we cut down. And that is a basic way to do Shihonage or four-direction throw. With that being said, that is my time for this event. I will be turning it over back to Mixon.
Thank you very much, Robert Sensei. I think I'm getting that slowly. Yeah.
What, the mighty penguin flippers?
Yeah, actually, that made sense today, finally. I don't think I've attended enough kids' classes. I got that mental image now. Aikido is an incredibly rich and deep martial arts. Our chief instructor says that, you know, it's a well that you can keep drinking from. There's a lot of different flavors of Aikido out in the world. When I was training in Okinawa, we didn't touch weapons at all. So I didn't have any Boken or Jo practice for over an entire year. Different people who trained with the founder got a slightly different flair of the art. And it's one of the things that makes attending seminars so interesting. So, Ryo-san, where are we at in terms of donations during the webinar?
We actually got more donations, thankfully, because it's really important because I destroyed some office equipment swinging my sword. So my cardboard sword. So there was, okay, we have to do the math together. 75 and 50 and 10, 135.
Okay.
Onegaishimasu.
Keep them honest from the count. I lost track.
Yeah.
Robert got it right there.
Yeah, we need like a little counter. Actually, let's see if Miss Victoria, our beautiful camera person, can keep us honest.
So we are the Twin Cities Aikido Center located in let's try to keep it together, guys. There we go. Located in St. Paul. Our website, if you're interested, is tcaikido.com. We're also up on Facebook. We're a 501c nonprofit organization. We all do this out of love of the art. We do 3 seminars a year here in the Twin Cities, bringing in 7th degree black belts who travel internationally to share the arts and help develop and foster Aikido. The founder said that Aikido is a tool for refining the true human spirit. I found it a great way to meet people, to travel, and it really is something that's trained all over the world now. Are there any questions from the chat before we pass things back over to JASM?
Yeah, there's one. Are there many women participating in your dojo?
Yes, she's behind the camera right now.
But there's more than just me.
Yes, we do have a number of women. COVID has been incredibly difficult for training. We can't train how we normally train at all. We still have classes here, but we have to wear masks and we can't do any contact. And that makes partner training incredibly difficult. So we look forward tremendously to when we can do open hand stuff for the each other together again, and our young women who are at the dojo, moving them forward, getting them to test for brown belt, getting them up to test for black belt. We had a few black belt tests that would have been scheduled in September, but for obvious reasons, they couldn't happen this year.
There's another question. How old do kids have to be to start training?
7.
Here, we want children to be at least 7 years old, and our kids program runs from 7 up through 15, 16 years old. Around entering high school, if a student has been training at the dojo for a year in the kids program, sorry.
We got the 135.
They can begin to train in the adults class.
Do your members go to Japan to practice?
We don't have an organized thing with our dojo yet for traveling to Japan together as a group, but a number of our members have gone to Japan and trained at Hangu Dojo, the world headquarters in Tokyo, which is sort of a great mecca for Aikidoists. That there's always, dozens and dozens of foreign practitioners, groups from various parts of Europe and Latin America who are in there training for a week or 2 weeks. So we've had members go there and train. On the odd numbered years, I've been going over meeting with our Osaka exchange partners and attending their summer camp up in the mountains at Hachiboden. So that's been a lot of fun too.
So I have a question that, do you guys have, is there any like levels that you go through? Is there
We do have tests, yes.
Okay.
They're a ranked system. So it's a non-competitive martial art, but there is a curriculum. This is also on our website of what techniques need to be demonstrated when, and what are the hour requirements for being minimally qualified in order to test. And there's a Q rank system starting at 6Q up to 5th Q, 4th Q. It's like negative numbers all the way up to 1st Q, and then it begins with 1st degree black belt, 2nd degree black belt, etc. So the Dan ranks, the black belts, they begin to become positive. It probably takes about 5 or 6 years to get a black belt in the USA. So that's a lot of regular training of at least 4 or 5 days a week. We are open 7 days a week, morning and evening. We don't have an Uchideshi program, so no live-in students who sleep here, but we do have a young member, and I think she essentially decided, no, you do have an Uchideshi program because she attends every single class that we offer.
Great. I think, are we all good with the questions? Hopefully, yes. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I slept more than you guys did, so that wasn't against my plan, but that's okay. If we can, it would be wonderful if we can have pictures together. So if you don't mind sharing a screen with us so that we can have a group photo, just for like 5 seconds, if we can just kind of pretend that we're taking pictures. Yes. Okay, so is there any good pose that we can do? Make sense here. Together. So shall we have all swords up raised? I don't have any, but you know. Okay, so ready. Hana, ganbatte. Ready, do it. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Very good, everybody. Thank you. And thank you again to Twin Cities Aikido Center Yay.
Thank
Like the applause for sign language, which we have been doing.
ありがとうございました。
はい、ありがとうございました。Thank you, everybody. See you all soon. Take care. Bye.